What is going on, guys? It is Fluxified here and welcome back to another video. Today we are diving deep into the latest Rust console public test branch update. I'll be giving you my overall impressions of the update itself, go over a few bugs and issues that do remain, and also talk through some secret changes that were introduced that you might not know about. So with that in mind, without further ado, let's get into it. As of Thursday, July 31st, the public test branch officially went live for Rust console. However, the rollout wasn't as smooth as it could have been for everyone. Currently on PlayStation, there are several issues with players that own the Deluxe or Ultimate Edition of Rust console, where they're still not able to access the public test branch. Now, the developers have identified this issue and it is currently being worked on, but they do say it may still take some time before people can actually get into it, although they do aim to have this fixed by early next week, so fingers crossed those issues will be fixed very soon. Next up, I want to go over my overall impressions of this update. I was actually pretty surprised when I loaded it in because I was expecting, as this is the PTB, for there to be tons of bugs kind of everywhere, but it actually runs really smoothly, and overall the update is just a lot cleaner than I thought it would be. There are obviously a few bugs introduced in the update which I will go into later on, but if you do have any bugs that you'd like to report, do let me know in the comments. So let's go through the update itself. We have the main attraction, of course, the Junkyard. What stands out to me about Junkyard, coming from someone that hasn't really played the PC version, there's actually no radiation around the whole monument, meaning that it's basically accessible from the moment you spawn on the beach, and overall it's just a nice little monument really. I would compare it to something like Satellite Dish. It's not insane like maybe Water Treatment or Train Yard, but it definitely is a strong competitor to Satellite Dish, and of course having the central vehicle that you can use to get scrap pretty quickly by shredding cars is definitely the standout of this monument, and you can actually get a good amount of scrap quite fast using this vehicle. The only thing I want to say about this monument from my experience is that it was absolutely filled with nakeds with pump shotguns and water pipes and DBs everywhere I went, so hopefully that does die down over time, but it does seem that at least for right now, because there's no radiation, you can expect a fair amount of grubs to be hiding around in little corners in this monument, so definitely be on the lookout for that. We of course also got additional vehicles introduced in this update. First off, we got the cars, which feel a lot better than I expected. You can actually turn these things pretty easily, and they're actually really easy to control as well. I thought they'd be a bit heavy and a bit hulky and be a bit more slow to maneuver, but it actually wasn't anything like that at all from my experience. You can also use these in an emergency to run over players and make a fast escape, so definitely bear that in mind, but of course bear in mind that if you do crash into anything, even players with a vehicle, it will naturally take down the overall durability of the vehicle, so of course you may want to just be careful how many things you're crashing into. Motorbikes were another vehicle included in this update, and they function about how you would expect. They're pretty fast and easy to use as well. From my experience, they do lose health pretty fast from just driving around, so you may want to just be aware of that, and it may just be one of those vehicles that you pick up at a monument and get from A to B and kind of just leave it there and wait for another one to spawn somewhere else, so do bear that in mind. Now, motorbikes are a really fast vehicle to actually get around in. They do move faster the higher the durability they have. However, probably as a result of how fast they go, I am definitely noticing a little bit more lag with the motorbikes than the cars, but that is to be expected for any vehicle that goes fast on the game, and hopefully that can get smoothed out a bit as the month goes by. Overall though, I do want to say between all these new vehicles, cars, motorbikes, bikes, and even hot air balloons, just being able to find these around the map just makes things feel so much more alive than they used to be. Travel isn't a chore anymore, you're not running around on your feet constantly, and you now have plenty of options really of how you want to get around the map, and that's not even mentioning the recent inclusion of minicopters and scrap helicopters and those things as well. It really does change how you play the game really, because you can just pick up one of these vehicles and just get going from point A to point B really fast, so it just doesn't make sense to build so close and risk being raided so soon. It really does change up just how you play the game. Now of course this is still the public test branch, so yes, there are still issues. Right now you may notice that anyone that is offline has this really weird, twisted, awkward sleeping pose. It's honestly super funny to come across, but the developers have mentioned that they are working on this, so this issue probably won't be around for too long. There's also a pretty weird glitch with vehicles at the moment where if you jump on them in a certain place, it sends you flying off. This one was reported to me by the Rusty Looters crew, and while it's not too crazy, it definitely is a little bit inconvenient, so hopefully that one also gets sorted pretty soon. We also got some additional DLC with this update by the name of the Gesture Pack. This one adds about 8 new emotes to the game. My favourite one is probably the rock, paper, scissors one. Definitely a great one for deciding something between yourself and another player, and the best part about it is that only one player needs to actually own the Gesture Pack for both players to play the rock, paper, scissors minigame. So you can play the minigame with another player, even if they don't own the DLC themselves. Now, we also had a bit of an accidental release earlier in the week from the developers. This came in the form of the shipping container building skin. The skin actually went live on the Xbox store by mistake earlier last week. The building skin has since been removed from the store, but for anyone that did actually buy the skin, it was actually pretty bugged out, and whereas on the PC version you can spray the shipping container building skin to multiple colours, you could only have it set as one single colour on the console version, and you weren't actually able to change this. Now, that was obviously a result of the skin being released a little bit too soon, and the developers have said that the proper version of the DLC won't be ready until the end of August, so it will likely release alongside the new update coming to the main branch at the end of August wipe. I did also notice for the shipping container building skin, the developers also said that a few hundred people managed to purchase it before it was removed, so it does look like people are quite keen on these building skins, because that skin was only around for a few hours at most. So the fact that so many people were ready to buy it straight away means that these building skins are seemingly really popular with the console audience. The update also included a secret buff to airdrops. This was spotted by a Rust console content creator by the name of Rust1, who noticed that airdrops seem to be buffed to match the PC version, and the difference in them now is honestly pretty huge. It definitely does make airdrops a lot more worth contesting. So I think that just about wraps up this video. If you did enjoy them, please be sure to like the video and also consider subscribing, because I do post videos just like this every single week. Until then though, I have been Fluxified, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the beach.